Time now for our woke slayer-in-chief, Jim Davidson. And look, it's been another tough few days for the British Bashing Corporation, or the BBC, as it's formerly known, after it was revealed that A Question of Sport lost over 4 million viewers after the BBC axed its legendary host Sue Barker for Paddy McGuinness. Now, Barker also revealed when the Beeb got rid in a harebrained attempt by the corporation's calamitous management to refresh the show, they asked her to lie about it before eventually begging her to come back. I mean, Jim, the BBC is literally losing it. Literally losing 4 million viewers because of this tragic desperation to be woke.
I know, it is. It's ridiculous. I thought Sue Barker was quite good. And I think Paddy McGuinness, he ticks all the wokey boxes. He's quite nice. He doesn't have an opinion about anything. Now, you've got to remember, Dan, the BBC gave me £1 million to go away when I was doing the Generation Game and Big Break. They said, we don't want another series. We got a contract. Well, you can have £1 million and don't tell anyone.
So they did the same thing?
Yeah, same thing, yeah.
Why didn't they want you anymore?
Do you really have to ask that, Dan? No, because I think someone new turned up and went, what's he doing here? A Tory scumbag, get rid of him. Yeah, that was it.
But it is...
They didn't even have an excuse, so we don't like him anymore.
Well, it's fascinating how Sue Barker just lifted the lid
she was fantastic.
on the bizarre way that they actually ask celebrities to lie to protect the BBC from criticism.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
And by the way, whoever made that decision should now be sacked, Jim, because literally
as long
that
as they
show...
don't tell anyone.
Indeed. Because that show, think about that, going from 4.5 million viewers to 800,000. I mean, it's a disaster.
A Channel 5 programme about a shed in a back garden beat them. Beat them in the ratings. There's more people watching this now than there is watching that programme now. Poor old Paddy, he's a nice guy, but, you know, smell the coffee, get a new job.
No, indeed. Now, look, I want to move on to Joe Lycett, who, of course, insisted on derailing Laura Kuenssberg's interview with our Prime Minister on Sunday. And really, to me, this exposed the BBC's blatant bias. So just to remind you, Jim, here is some of those infuriating moments from that interview.
Thank you so much for coming in. And whatever happens, do come back. Well, I was going to say, going for some reaction from our panel.
The haters will say that we've had 12 years of the Tories and that we're sort of at the dregs of what they've got available and that Liz Truss is sort of like the backwash of the available MPs. I wouldn't say that because I'm incredibly right-wing.
I mean, Jim, number one, is that guy actually a comedian? Because I feel like the Trade Descriptions Act should come in here because, well, I didn't find it funny. Am I missing something? Am I missing
You're a hard man.
Do you know him?
I do. He told me off once.
What?
I was up in... I did some gig. I did the big room.
Yeah.
I did 2 halves in the big room, and there was a little gig downstairs. Same promoter. He said, look, we're selling no tickets downstairs. Will you do a gig downstairs as well? So I went downstairs, and Joe Lycett said, that joke you talked about a Chinese person using the CH word with a K and all that. He said, you shouldn't do that. You should say a Chinese person. And I said, well, it'll ruin the joke. It doesn't matter. You don't want to be known as the bad guy. So I went on and changed it to what he wanted, and no one laughed at it, apart from him, who clapped. So he actually gave me the finger and told me off. But the thing is with Joe...
So he's a woke guy.
He is, but you know what you're going to get with him. You know what you're going to get with me. People tune in to see you because they know basically what they're going to get. They don't know the actual words.
But this is the point, though, Jim.
But it's woke. It's not funny.
Well, no, but the thing is, the BBC, right, I would actually say, OK, that's fair enough, if they have you on this Sunday morning with Laura Kuenssberg, because then I'd say, OK, fair enough. You've had your woke lefty comedian on week 1, get Jim Davidson, the woke slayer, on week 2. But here's the thing, Jim, they won't do that. They only like backing the left-wing comedians.
But they might have to give me £1 million to go away again at the end of the gig.
I'm just imagining
rather than a slice of pizza and a cab.
But it wasn't funny, though, was it? Fundamentally, what he did, it just wasn't
He's
funny.
not a joke teller. You know, he's not shock horror. He's nice and off the wall and a bit... he's sort of... No, you're right, he's not funny.
Yeah, and I think, actually, it's not his fault, this.
He's a great guy.
Of the BBC, which has this ingrained desire to try and humiliate any slightly right-wing politician, because that's what this was about. They knew that Liz Truss was on. It was her first big interview at the BBC. They had to find a way to bring her down. Well,
I mean, Laura Kuenssberg is... I don't get it. Click. There's certain things you can click. I've got... You know when in the Cowboys they can draw a gun like that? I'm the same with the television clicker. All I've got to hear is this. Da 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 da. Click. That's me. Da 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 da. Click. That's it. And it's Laura Click. That's me. I'm the clicker. Don't worry about that. Get rid of them.
Well, do you know what? I think after the debut at the weekend, a few more people are going to be going Click on a Sunday morning, and hopefully coming over to GB News, by the way, because that's where you should be on a Sunday
they should
morning.
come over to
Absolutely.
GB News.
Now, Jim, I've got to ask you about the political drama of the day.
Yes.
What did you think of Liz Truss?
Well, her performance at the Dispatch box, I thought she was like Thatcher.
Really?
Carol Thatcher.
Oh, Jim.
No, do you know what I can't get? I can't get the fact that politicians can't speak from the heart. They have to speak from the bit of paper, don't they?
Yes.
You know, you and I, we sit here, we're talking to the nation. We don't need notes and stuff. It's not as if we're reading the autocue.
No.
Reading the autocue. I think people should be able to speak from the heart, you know, without notes. What do you think, Dan? I think she was all right and calm, but we don't want all right. We want dynamic.
Well, but do we, though, Jim? Because I actually
do.
think there's something a little bit beautiful in the fact that what Liz Truss has done is she said, I'm not going to be about performance. I'm not going to be about theatrics. Now, look, I know you and me. Yeah, we loved watching Boris and his speeches because they were great. He's a performer.
She's nice and wants to calm it down. She's the Joe Lycett of the politician.
I think she is saying, I'm actually going to be about being smart. I'm not going to try and perform. I'm not going to try and be the best person on stage. Look, at the moment, I think it's working for her.
There was a few overactors on that front bench. Did you see James Cleverly?
Yeah, what was he doing with his hand? What was that about?
He's a great guy, you know. That whole front bench now, I mean, talk about diverse.
Yeah.
It's incredible. They look as if they're ready to do a commercial on TV. I mean, they're just
They'll be
fantastic.
being hired by Sainsbury's or Ben & Jerry's any day now.
They will. Like a sofa, please. Yeah. No, James Cleverly is great. And Kwasi Kwarteng. I said on my TV show the other day, bet your bottom dollar he's the first one in the door and he'll get whatever job he wants because they get on really well and he's a really clever, charismatic bloke, as is James Cleverly. The other people I don't know, the Health Secretary, she's been picked on a bit. That's not fair. I actually think she is Ken Clarke. I haven't seen...
Ken Clarke's made a comeback.
You haven't seen Ken Clarke and her together, have you? It's like David Lammy oh no.
But it's unfair, though, isn't it, Jim? Because, come on, no one said a thing about Ken Clarke not being in fit enough shape to be Health Secretary.
It's sexist.
Yeah, and I don't like going down that whole identity politics path usually, but I actually feel like
good fun,
I want to
though,
defend Therese Coffey today.
Do you?
Well, I do, because I'm like, you know what? She likes a drink, she likes a cigar, she likes karaoke. Great, so do I. Well, apart from the cigars. I bet you like the cigars, Jim.
No, I don't. I once had a cigar in my mouth. I said, it makes me look like a film star. And someone said, yes, Lassie going to the toilet. So I stopped
that
smoking.
note, Jim Davidson, our woke slayer in chief, and Jim will be back next week. Thank you, Jim. But coming up in the media buzz, I hope so.